as we celebrate the season of the pumpkin. It's just a swing at the Dim Carnival.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dim Carnival. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And things are a little bit extra spooky this week because we have a special Halloween episode. We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming because there's, whenever you're listening to this, enter days here, more days till Halloween, 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 and you better get yourself a silver shamrock mask, because we're going to talk about something extra special, which is House of Krazees, Night of the Pumpkin. So, am I reading this correctly?
That is Seasons of the Pumpkin?
Season of the Pumpkin is the name of the
Season
record.
of the Witch. House of Krazees 3, Season of the Witch.
Right off the bat, I got to give a shout out to the homie Rob. This was his suggestion. He emailed us, and homie Rob started his own podcast. It's called What is a Juggalo? And I've been enjoying it every week. It's been really great. He introduces every week. He introduces a new Juggalo and just gets to learn about their life and how they're connected to ICP. Super rad. And he actually wanted to do this, but he couldn't pull it together. So he emailed us and he was like, "Hey, it would be dope if you guys did that." And we were like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it."
And further shout out to Twisted History, which we've referenced before, for providing me with some much needed context and information about this album.
Oh shit, dope. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that.
You didn't look that up? Okay.
No, I didn't.
All right. Well, so this is House of Krazees. From what I gather, the House of Krazees. This is House of Krazees' most beloved album.
Whoa.
Yeah. All the comments because
it's surprising to think that they have another album because there's like a million tracks on this CD.
Yeah. So House of Krazees, if it's been a while, you guys need a refresher. It is the ROC, Mr. Bones, and Manic. What was Hectic? Sorry, I was really close. And that, of course, is Twisted, and the ROC. Mr. Bones is Jimmy Madrox, and Hectic is Monoxide. Correct? Right?
You got it.
It's got to be right?
Yeah.
I don't think Monoxide would be called Mr. Bones. But yeah, so this was Twisted and ROC before ROC just like pieced out for several years, and Twisted was left to befriend ICP and get on Psychopathic Records as the first big Psychopathic Records breakout stars apart from ICP. And but yeah, this is 94, I believe. This album came out. Mm-hmm. It was released on Halloween in 1994. And it's a concept album about some rappers who want to make a 21-track album. It's a concept album. So, this is the Halloween episode. It's a Halloween themed concept album by horrorcore rappers that was released on Halloween. And there's a lot of comments on because the only place I could find to listen to it was YouTube. There's a bunch of full album streams that you can find for it. Although I didn't check Spotify, so I probably should have just checked Spotify. But YouTube, there's a bunch of YouTube comments that are like, "I listen to this every Halloween. It's the perfect Halloween CD." And I got to say, I can't find fault with that. I mean, this is good Halloween listening.
It's very, very good Halloween listening. Yeah.
Liked this album a lot more than I thought I would. The specific YouTube video that I watched that had the whole album, which was helpfully broken up into tracks. I love when YouTube videos have chapters that you can, it's just so convenient. But there were, about every track had a new image that it would stay up for the duration of the track. And there was one image of House of Krazees standing by railroad tracks holding sticks. And it's It's basically the best image I've ever seen in my entire life because it's like, what, 17-year-old Twisted just holding sticks wearing like enormous orange pants. I don't know if you've seen this photograph.
Well, if nobody's seen that photograph, you want to head over to the Dim Carnival Instagram. We'll have it waiting for you.
Have you guys seen this photograph?
No.
No.
Look at this photograph. Hang on. Keep talking while I pull up this image.
When I was listening to it, I was using YouTube. Like, if you have the premium YouTube, they have their own app that's
Ooh
a
la
music
la.
app. And so I was having a hard time finding it on that. There was the long video that was like an hour and 5 minutes, just all of it. Then I did find one, and I don't know if this is the actual cover, but it's like, I assume the three of them in like pumpkin masks, and they have like the little Halloween light, jack-o'-lantern lights, and it's all orange, and I thought it was a really cool looking picture.
Pumpkin mask, pumpkin mask. I shared this photo with you guys in the chat, so please enjoy this photograph.
Yes, I've seen this photo before.
It's like if the band Together from the MTV show of the same name was in Cannibal Holocaust.
Jamie's hair here is exactly what mine looks like when it grows out.
Sure.
Real bad. It looks like he got stung in the face by a bee.
He's a little red.
Right in the
They've
forehead.
been out in the sun
Ow.
all day, walking by the railroad tracks, trying to find a. This is actually a cropped picture. In the picture that's on the YouTube video, you can see that they're very clearly standing on railroad tracks, but it's still very funny. It's like this is the movie that Blair Witch Project never was.
I love this.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great.
So we're talking about this Halloween album. This album, like I said, probably from what I've gathered, House of Krazees' most beloved album. It's been re-released several times. It was released in the mid-2000s, and then just recently was released again on Magic Ninja Entertainment on a double vinyl remastered special edition, where one of the vinyls, one of the LPs is orange and one is yellow. So that's probably a pretty nice vinyl set. I gotta say, guys, this album didn't really know what to expect, but boy, did I enjoy it. It's a very listenable album, and it's got a fun concept.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that, first of all, the fact that there's 21 tracks is just mind-boggling to me. I gotta say that I don't want to start with something that's like a criticism. They made this a long time ago. They were young, and you can really feel it. Really feels accessible in a cool way. And by that I mean, like, you can kind of figure out how they made everything, like how they did what they were doing. It's not intricate music making here, you know. This is like accessible music making, and that was something I really enjoyed about it.
I was absolutely not expecting the very first like music track on the album to be like such a metal rap song.
Yeah,
because the first track samples Marilyn Manson, a couple of tracks off of Marilyn Manson's album that was just freshly out in '94, which is also like that's just kind of a weird confluence of things happening. But I was definitely not expecting this to be the first sound I heard from this House of Krazees album.
Well, so I don't know if we're probably not gonna do a track by track, right? 21 tracks, but
No, we're not. There's no way.
The album starts.
I refuse.
The album starts with a skit.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty entertaining. I guess we should expect, you know, these kids are putting on their personalities or whatever. You get them doing voices. They're playing some kids that are looking for something to do. There's a curfew and they can't go out. So they're going to stand and watch TV, and they start this documentary. And that gives some pretty interesting information. I don't know how much like history, if there's more history and stuff, Bill, that you have from Twisted History.
Yes. So, basically, Twisted History says, quote, "This is their masterpiece. Everything they had been working toward comes into focus here. The samples, the themes, the skits, all of it. Released on October 31st, 1994, it's a concept album about all things Halloween. It's over an hour of nonstop horror and darkness. The outro describes it as a journey through the minds of corroded, jagged, smiling pumpkins. And it does indeed say that. Introduced to a group of friends who are kept in on Devil's Night, October 30th, by Detroit's curfew. The group of teens, presumably teens, is frustrated with the curfew but decides to just smoke weed and watch cable TV for entertainment instead of going out. They decide to watch a documentary called Season of the Pumpkin about 3 horrifying humans called the House of Krazees, who are notorious for having engaged in cannibalism among other crimes. Then the documentary introduces us to hectic Mr. Bones and ROC, and claims that their bodies are rumored to be buried in a pumpkin patch where it's unknown if they're dead or alive. So it just goes on from there.
Well, yeah, and it actually gives their date of birth. So in '94, when that record came out, you knew that they were teenagers.
Nice. Well, no, the teens watching the TV are not necessarily supposed to be.
Sorry. Yeah. I know. I see what you mean. You're right. Sorry.
No problem. So, yeah, it's just the album goes from there where it sort of spirals out to, all various things about Halloween. And one of the tracks that I find the most compelling is, the track Masks. The Mask, sorry.
Got the gloves on my hands, I don't leave no prints. Getting the 5th degree from this elderly bitch.
Can I help you?
I need a
What
mask.
kind of mask? We have all kinds.
A mask of
I'm
a
sorry,
killer.
sir. I can't help you.
I need a mask.
No?
The mask of a killer.
Quickly pointed to the mask on the wall. It was a mysterious face.
Where all 3 of them go in to get masks, and each one, the verse, the mask is revealed to have previously belonged to one of the 3 murderers in the House of Krazees. And then there's a question about, like, are these the kids watching the show that go out to get masks to go trick-or-treating, and do they then become these killers, these entities once they put the masks on? But then it just goes from there.
Yes, the mask is rad.
Yeah.
I really like too how that track is kind of in the middle of a run. So like they have the intro where it kind of introduces all the characters and the concept, right? And then the first track is Horror Story. That's the one you mentioned earlier, the one that samples Marilyn Manson. It's a pure rap rock track. It's got electric guitar, and it's like, yeah, not at all, totally out of left field. Like, was not expecting it. Then Dark Images, which like slows it down a little bit. Another really dope beat.
Begging me to be the ghost man, the throat man, knocking in my cellar, the underground dwellers they call. I go see these dark images when the night falls. It's my call to take my life, cause I can't take the strain. Dark images trapped in my back.
Actually, all of this record is produced by the ROC, by the way, except for 2 tracks. One, Jamie and Paul each produce 1 track on the record, but everything else is produced by ROC. But then
It's like shockingly well made for a bunch of teenagers in 1994.
yeah, well, even in the skit, I think they're just recording that with a keyboard. Like they're doing the door knock with like the rim shot sound, the Casio keyboard rim shot sound.
Yeah. And like all of the other there are no more than 3 people on this album, and like all the other voices are like very clearly like either them doing a voice or like them like manipulating one of their voices, but like not enough to like disguise who's talking.
Absolutely.
Like speeding up or slowing down the frequency of their voice.
But then there's Underground Culture, which is a song that I don't think fits on the album at all. I have no idea why it's on the record. Okay. But then you get to Hallows Eve. So from Hallows Eve, for like a run of 5 tracks, it's like almost like one continuous long story. It's the track Hallows Eve like introduces the idea of what the night is, right? And what's going on. What it is continues on that. The mask, you need a costume, right? Because you're going to participate, right? The night's finally here. What do you do on Halloween? You go trick-or-treating, so that's the next track. When you're out trick-or-treating, you come upon the haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
They have a whole track about that. When you get inside the haunted house, there's a fucking evil. That's when you see the evil, right? You start learning about all the killers and shit, like your killer comes out of you or whatever. And then it's the whole second half of the record, I assume. It's just like all tracks about different types of brutality and horror. and stuff like that. But I just really love that run where they kind of all set up from the origins of the night and the witches and all that stuff, all the way up through trick or treating, and then turning into a killer. I thought it was rad.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think, Steve?
I'm a lot like what Bill was saying. I was not expecting a whole lot out of this, and I really enjoyed it. And I kept telling myself as I was listening to it, holy crap, this is going to be something that I'm going to listen to in the future. Like, I'm going to go back to this album. And I was not expecting to feel that way about the album. There were certain things that seemed funny to me that I liked, and I just think it may have been because of the production value. Like, there are certain songs where, like, if it goes into the chorus or a bridge like part, how it drops, the sound drops tremendously compared to the levels of the verses.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Even if it's like not what they even wanted, it works. And
yeah, so many of the tracks on the album also are verses, and then there's like no hook. It's just like a skit or like some spoken stuff.
Yeah.
Or like a movie sample, movie clip, or something like that.
Right? Yeah.
And then they just repeat it over and over. Some of those I really dislike especially when it's like really offbeat or whatever.
Yeah. I wish that I had been able to spend more time to really dig into each song. As opposed to a lot of it kind of runs together to me because it takes me forever to really like distinguish song from song when I'm listening to albums, even when I really like them. And so this is, like I said, definitely something I'm going to go back and keep listening to, and I'll definitely start finding songs that I like better, and I'll probably skip certain ones, but definitely Masks, and especially that whole run you were talking about, Ryan, about like the 5 songs I really, really liked that part. And I don't remember which song it was. I felt like there was some guitar rock in it, but I thought maybe it wasn't really from a guitar, but a keyboard. And I thought that was pretty awesome, but it may not have been. I mean, hell, for all I know, I may be mistaking it for the Marilyn Manson samples, but, yeah.
I just thought, it's such a cool, like Ryan laid out. It's a very, very, very cool, like, concept album to be structured in this way. Like, all the trappings of, like, Halloween and what you do, and, like, the underlying, like, sinister nature of those things being brought out, and then like getting inside the haunted house, and like that being like the sprawl of like where you can witness like all of the horror that the real world has for you, like the depths of the evil that humanity is capable of,
I also want to say, I wish when I was a teenager I could have written lyrics like this and been this smart and creative. Like, this is good shit. It really is.
Also, like, so yeah, like they're like clearly like none of these people in this album in 1994 were at the peak of like where they were gonna get. Like this is in no way like they're very talented for teen, but like by no means is this like the most talented they're going to be in their lives. This is them just starting out, but it's still like really impressive to like, even like just in Horror Story in the first like track after the intro.
I feel you motherfucker. It's my horror story. Why don't you rush me? Let me die. Why do they cry? Why do my mentals, my fucking brain is in pain? The rock and rolls.
It's very impressive to see like both members of Twisted doing like a fake stutter to like to their flow. Like that's like when they started doing that, I was like, look, this isn't like executed perfectly, but like I really appreciate what they're doing here, and like being able to like not just write cool rhymes, but write rhymes with the conceit of like putting a fake stutter in them. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was the main thing that I kept thinking listening to it was how much work it really takes to make something, to make a song.
Sure. Yeah.
Like we've all written songs, right? And Bill, when we were in the Gunslinger, we wrote songs, but we didn't really spend a lot of time. I mean, you wrote a lot of songs, And I imagine you spent a lot of time writing those songs. But when we wrote songs together as a band, we didn't really spend that much time on them. we kind of got them down, you know? And I can
Well,
feel,
some of us got them down faster than others.
That song. Oh, yeah. I wasn't even in that band.
Love you,
and I still
Tommy.
Oh, damn, man. Got to call it out on Halloween.
A lot of time was spent.
You got me on that. But just like really, really appreciate that, man. And you can, this is growing pains, literally. Like you can see them practicing out how to deliver a flow, like practicing, trying different techniques, and seeing almost what is working with. They haven't figured out their voice yet. That's what I wrote. Is like you can actually hear them working on defining their voice, which made me think about performing and artistry, you know, like not only singing but acting or being on stage. And it's like you have to really tap into something to make it seem genuine. And if you listen to Twisted now, either the guys in Twisted now, you hear and then you listen to this, there's like a lack of confidence in their voice because they haven't established and know what they sound like. They have their influences maybe or whatever. They're trying to figure it out still. And I think that's so fucking cool, man. It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
Really
and
neat insight.
especially with like being a rapper, it's so much more difficult to find a voice and even more an authentic voice, because like if you're singing, if you're a singer, even if you're like a hardcore singer or like a screamo guy or whatever, like you have a range and you have what you can do. And like if you're like a scream guy, then like you find like the right scream for the band you're in. Like, and some things fit and some don't. And if you're a singer, like you have a range and you have like, here's like, am I singing too gravelly? Am I singing too hard? Like what fits the song? But if you're a rapper, you have to cultivate your authentic voice, and that can be done in a million ways. And it's all about finding. So like throughout this album, I think that there are a lot of little tiny moments where Madrox, like Mr. Bones, sounds like Jamie Madrox for like a second, like where it's like, yeah, okay, he's gonna get there eventually. I don't think there's really any moments on this album where Hectic sounds like Monoxide Chow.
I will say the one track that Jamie Madrox produced, Mr. Bones, is Down. Mm-hmm. And it's not a particularly standout song to me, but his verse definitely is.
Cause the blood on my hands seems much too old. Take the toll, it's rotten scrolls. Dig me no hole, dig me no tomb. In my padded room, when we come, we grab you by the throat. ROC, Hectic, and Mr. Bones is my name, you know the game. So I guess I'm locked down in my fucking brain.
And that is like the strongest. That's to me, what you just said about like hearing his voice, that's the one that I thought of. He really as far as I'm concerned, outshines everybody on that song like by a million. Like first two tracks I'm listening to it, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's the song, and then he comes in, I'm like, oh shit, that song was dope.
Mm-hmm.
I could. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Well, it's kind of going backwards a little bit when we were talking about the stutter and talking about how difficult, like, and even if it wasn't executed perfectly, how difficult that must have been to make. And I just watched Tim Heidecker's stand-up that just got released on.
I need to watch that.
It's so amazing, but like his shtick is being a parody of a comedian on stage with confidence, but always flubbing. And for him to tell bad jokes wrong, that's got to be so hard.
Well, like Neil Hamburger, who's like a comedian whose entire gimmick is that he's bad at comedy.
Yeah,
like. That shit's incredible.
Yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to throw that in there because
thanks for reminding me of that. You said
watch that
comedy special.
I just wanted to say Tim Heidecker.
So any further? I honestly, so we all like the album. We've dived into it a bit. I want to get everyone's thoughts out, and then I thought maybe we could close this episode out by just doing Halloween memories. Since this is the Halloween episode, we can talk about like Halloween traditions, why we like Halloween, that sort of thing. But
well, one thing I wanted to mention is there's 2 shout out tracks. So 21 tracks, but the real last music track is Why, which is one of my favorite tracks on the album.
If you don't understand where I'm coming from, don't be quick to judge me, cause you'll get done by the beast inside me that you can't see. But if you see like I saw, you be next to me. Feel what I feel, the messages are mixed. One day it's top of the world, and then I'm dissed.
But then there is a whole album, a whole track that's mostly backmasked, where they're giving props, giving thanks to people. And I didn't take the time to edit, or, decipher the backmasking. But they're pretty aggressive. And for the most part, I feel like they're kind of more saying like, fuck you to people rather than thank you. And maybe they are actually saying fuck you to a bunch of people, because then there is a real thank you track at the end.
Yeah. I also like
that.
Isn't the very last thing on the album like, and all cops can suck my dick or something?
Yes. Yes, I believe that is the last.
I can't think of a better way to end an album in 1994 or in 2020.
Right. It's a timeless sentiment. The other thing I wanted to say is the track that's produced by Monoxide Child, Hectic, is Sounds of Halloween. It is the only instrumental track on the record.
Sounds of Halloween. Sounds of Halloween.
Which is a little bit, maybe it gives us a little bit of insight into maybe he's like a more emotional, introspective kind of person, than we might give him credit for, that Monoxide.
It would have been better if the Sounds of Halloween track was just like the CD that you get that's the spooky sounds.
It's kind of almost like that. But you know what it really made me think of, dude, is like it's kind of Dim Carnival. Like it's like clips of things and alien sounds in the background. Like it's kind of our brand, man. I like it.
Sure. I mean, well, there's an aesthetic that we've latched onto. I was just on the one of my favorite podcasts, What a Time to Be Alive, that's hosted by some of my comedian friends, and I was on there promoting my book. And for the month of October, they've got a spooky theme, and they've got like spooky like soundboard stuff, and like they have for the month they have a bunch of drops that their producer will play. That's just like the creepy voice being like creaky door or like bats. Yeah, I think it's good.
That's good.
Steve likes it.
I like it.
That shit's my jam.
Yeah, I know. Rattling chains.
I got the worst sense of humor.
I disagree. What's the name of the Tim Heidecker thing where he's like a spy?
Decker.
Or like a secret agent? Decker. Oh, there he goes again.
Oh,
Off like a rocket.
Well, I just pictured his face. His hair all slicked back. And his hand. The black glove. Oh, this shit is stupid. Oh, I love it.
Well, you guys got any fun Halloween memories?
Oh, does Steve, do you have anything else to say about the House of Krazees?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you were done talking about that. Seriously.
No, not really, other than like...
It's great.
Yeah, I can't wait to listen to it again.
I might listen to it on Halloween next year.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Or this year. Or any year.
Yeah.
It really is, honestly. I found it like as entertaining as putting on a horror movie, like just yeah, put it on and listen to it. It's fucking fun, and I could absolutely just see it playing like at a Halloween party or whatever. Like it's fucking rad music. It's good.
Yeah.
And thanks a million to the suggestion, Rob.
Yeah.
For the suggestion, rather. Yes. Oh, here's something from Twisted History. Season of Pumpkin ends with a pair of outros. These tracks both include a series of shout-outs to the likes of Two Crazy Devils, Crazy Clan, who would separately go on to become ABK and Laval. Evil, formerly Big Father High Top, and the Sons of Midnight, featured on Mr. Bones' tape The Demon Inside. These young rappers were already looking to build a world around them, starring other like-minded rappers from their neighborhood. The fact that these rappers would go on to be intertwined with them for decades to come goes to show just how already locked in their goals and aesthetics were by 1994. And then they conclude with, Season of the Pumpkin has gone down without competition as the House of Krazees album, and for good reason. It is a landmark not only of the group, but of their specific subgenre. Season of the Pumpkin is an early wicked shit horrorcore masterpiece, and luckily it was only the beginning. Pretty much a consensus opinion that this is the definitive House of Krazees album, and for good reason, I think.
Hell yeah, it was
dope,
man.
No, it was great. Like I said, I didn't expect to enjoy it this much, and testament to how good it is that we don't have a lot to say about it. I thought we have a decent amount to say about it. We aren't able to go track by track because we did it on short notice, but maybe we'll revisit it one day. Who knows? This podcast, of course, will go forever.
Right.
By which I mean until 2022, when the Trump administration shuts down all podcasts. All right, let's talk about Halloween, guys. Let's spend the rest of this episode talking about the Garfield Halloween special.
I hate Mondays.
It's true. Bats. Lasagna, though. Bats.
Bats. When I was, I guess I was probably about 7. All my childhood, for my very young years, probably until I was about 10, my mom made my Halloween costume. And one year, I think I was 7, I wanted to be a bat. And I told my mom I want to be a bat. And she's like, I got you. We can make this. And now my mom, up till this year, my mom made dope costumes. She made like a Batman and Robin costume for me and my cousin. It was legit. And so I was real excited to go with Bat. And I never got to see it until it was done. My mom broke it out on Halloween night, right? And she showed me what she had made. Now, what my mom had purchased to make this bat suit was a leotard, like a dance class leotard.
Yeah, sure.
Brown lycra. So shimmery brown stretch. Extra like tight ass, like fucking tight, like nothing hiding underneath this bat suit. And then she sewed some really actually sweet looking bat wings into the arms. So it's like a ankle, wrist length, full body cat suit, shimmery brown with nowhere to hide my junk. Like you see my underwear line, the shit is so tight. You can see my tidy whitey's waistband. And then the cool, awesome bat wings, and it had a low neck, like a swooping down neck, which like nowadays I would put like a sweet medallion there, or maybe even like a merkin of chest hair.
Yes, chest merkin.
But
yes.
But as a kid, I didn't have style like that yet. I was just a kid. But there's all these pictures of me at Halloween making like a real angry face, like the bat's about to get you, and I'm wearing this like dance jumpsuit. Yeah.
Should have had a dance belt, man. That's how you get around the tightness. What was the face situation doing here, right?
Just my regular face out, just a human face.
No fangs, no makeup.
No, I didn't like wearing.
So you went as a ballet dancer.
That's what I'm saying, man. It wasn't flattering to me.
And so in all these pictures, you're just angry and you got your arms down at your sides so no one can see the wings, right?
I look like the bat. Rah! The bat's coming to get you with his human hands and face, but otherwise, it's a bat.
That's incredible. Do you guys know about the hammerhead bat?
I don't.
Something that gave us all corona.
It's so fucked up. No, well, I mean, maybe, but so the hammer-headed bat is a super fucked up looking bat that is common in certain parts of the world, and the male hammer-headed bat is like 2 to 3 times the size of the female hammer-headed bat, which is like, it's like one of the biggest size disparities between like sexes in any animal. And
Oh my god, what the fuck am I looking at, dude?
No one knows, but it's so fucked up looking that like some people think that this might be like where the legend of the Jersey Devil comes from, because like people are like, oh, maybe you saw like, because if you know, like you're in the 1800s, you're like walking around and you see one of these fucking things jump out, you definitely thought you saw the devil for sure. Like, no question.
I mean, it looks like a half-transformed human.
Yeah.
Well, like a half-transformed dog.
It looks like a fucking pit bull with wings.
Yes.
Or like, it looks like if Spuds McKenzie could fly. Are you looking at the Steven?
Terrifying. Jesus.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay. Anyway, bats are very interesting. Steve found it. He loves it.
A couple of these guys look pretty smart.
Instagram. Are you gonna share your bat costume on Instagram? Right?
Oh fuck, man! I gotta go get that picture from my mom's house.
Okay, we got this pandemic on. Never got time for that. But yeah, so the first costume I remember ever having was a store-bought costume that we bought at the Alpha Beta supermarket, and it was one of those bagged costumes, officially licensed Sesame Street costume of a honker, which consisted of a plastic smock that had the honker body on it, and then a plastic mask that just went over the front of your mask with a elastic band held on by two staples that went painfully around the back of your face, the back of your head, and with the world's tiniest pinprick of a hole for the mouth that you would suck air through for a couple hours, and that had a honker nose attached to the mask that you could honk with your hand. And it was very fun. But I loved that costume. I loved Sesame Street so much, and the honkers were like some of my favorite things. They didn't have like the Yip Yip aliens. I couldn't be a Yip Yip. But like that was like the coolest thing when I saw it in the store. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta do this for Halloween. That was the earliest Halloween costume that I'm cognizant of like picking out myself and then wearing. But then like for whatever reason, my dad had, of course, like a cape, like a cape for costumes, like a black cape with like a red satin lining. And so I was a Dracula for like 3 straight years. In like grade school, because I'm like, I got a cape, might as well wear a cape, and just like drew a widow's peak on myself and like blood trickle, plastic fangs, you know.
Nice.
How about you, Steve? Let's talk costumes.
I mean, some of the earliest memories that I can remember getting dressed for Halloween, we were pretty poor. My mom got a sheet and cut holes in the eyes, and I went as a ghost, and then she like kept it for a couple of years, and I just did that. And then by the time like we were like, my parents started making a little bit more money and stuff, and it wasn't as tight so that we could afford costumes, evangelical Christians and the Satanic Panic was in full effect, and we didn't celebrate Halloween anymore, so I went to more Harvest Fests.
Nice.
I did get to go trick-or-treating still. Like, my parents wouldn't let me, didn't, like, rob me of the opportunity to get candy. Mm-hmm. But usually I was wearing, like, I don't even really remember, because it would be, like, some, like, regular street clothes with a mask that I got from someone, because, like, we never bought masks and things like that. My brother had some masks because he was, like, 7 years older than me, and so he would celebrate, so I'd kind of take some of his hand-me-down masks, like when I was a little bit older, to go trick-or-treating. But then we would just go to these Harvest Festival bullshit things at church, and like everyone was dressed up as Bible characters, and I was just in clothes getting candy.
Yes, yeah, we like most of my Christmases involved going to my church's gym for like a Halloween Harvest Festival thing, and there's like always like a cakewalk, but like there wasn't like don't do Halloween costumes. It was just, and I understand that you were Pentecostal and I was Baptist, but like, you know,
yeah. I mean, they didn't discourage people from dressing up because they wanted the kids from the neighborhood to come in.
Yeah.
and stuff. So, you know, some people, even that were in the church, would be like, I don't know, they weren't Bible characters, but they weren't necessarily like monsters either. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes someone might be dressed like a sexy kitty cat, but not sexy at all.
And you always went as Ezekiel.
Sure.
Who's the guy who climbs the tree in the Bible? There's one guy who climbs a tree.
I don't know. I forget. I know what you're talking about, but
there's in the entire Bible, there's one guy who climbs a tree.
I'm more familiar with this Jesus cursing a fig tree for it not being seasoned for it to give fruit.
You piece of
which
shit.
Just seemed really mean to do to a tree that wasn't in season.
Wait till you hear what he did to those loaves and fishes.
A funny thing, you know, I ended up loving Halloween, and I did it, you know, participated more as an adult in my late 20s and early 30s, but then kind of stopped about mid 30s, and I don't do anything anymore. But I think probably the coolest Halloween I ever had was it was 95. And it was like my first real garage band that wasn't necessarily connected to churches. Daughterweed. And we played our first real gig in the parking lot of the church on Halloween at a harvest festival. And yeah, that was pretty awesome. Yeah. That's great. And then it didn't rain, but it like started sprinkling really bad. And enough that we were playing and we're like, this is kind of scary. And I kept getting shocked on my lips with the microphone.
You're like, my Ezekiel costume's going to get ruined.
Yeah, that was the other thing. We weren't dressed as we were dressed as punk kids. Although I was already
which is its own costume.
Yeah, which now I was already like 21 years old. So,
well, Punk Kid was my go-to Halloween costume from like 12 to 14 or whatever the last few years when you're too old to go out anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we would just dress all in black, and that would be our costume, and people would give us a hard time when at the door, like, what the hell is that costume? We're like, we don't, this is our costume.
I never got to that point where I was like, I'm too cool for a costume.
We just wanted to get the candy, go home, eat all the candy, and then usually, like if it was like a weekend night, we would sneak out. Like we would all have a sleepover, and then we would go out and be bad. You know, we'd like start fires, commit vandalism, break into the school, climb on top of the school. That was like the night you're supposed to go out and be bad.
Wow. For shame.
Sorry, guys. I was a bad kid.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess I have to mention that I was Steve one year for Halloween, and it fucking backfired because Steve ended up not being able to go out with us for Halloween. So
that's right. I helped you draw
inside joke costume,
the tattoos on,
and Ryan got violently ill.
Yeah, I threw up a lot that night. That Halloween sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a good time for a lot of it.
For me.
What Halloween was that?
Where we were all living in San Francisco.
Yeah, it was 2003.
You had to work at Redwood City.
Oh.
That was you, and I remember there's like pictures of me dressed as you. You saw the costume.
Yeah, I remember now.
I was carrying a bag of Trader Joe's cookies.
Yeah, chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
With the Red Sox hat on.
Yep.
You know, last year for Halloween where I work, a young lady, she has long blonde hair, and she's a service manager, and she's a newer service manager that just got hired in and not like someone that got promoted up. So I didn't really know her very well.
Did she look Halloween?
Yeah. And she wore all black, and she put on fake tattoos, and then she parted her hair right down the middle, and then she made me take a bunch of pictures with her.
Two people have been here for Halloween like 15 years apart.
Yeah. And it was because they said there was like a group of ladies who said they were going to do it. And I was like, you guys are full of shit. You're not going to do that. And then we laughed about it. And then sure enough, like the other three ladies didn't do it, but that one lady was like, and she showed up, and she really was. I was like, damn. It was hilarious. It was flattering.
That's great. Love it. Love it. I guess we should probably wrap this episode up. All right. Well, happy Halloween, everybody. Thanks for listening. I hope you are having, or had a great Halloween. And if you're listening to this really late, we hope that Donald Trump isn't president anymore when you listen to this. And we apologize if he is. Unless you like Donald Trump, in which case, don't listen to our show. We don't want your listenership. I'm not even going to say no offense because.
Yeah, no. Fuck anyway, you. Go away.
Yeah, go away.
Offense, man.
Lose my number.
Offense implied. Spooky chains.
Bats. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. You can get my book anywhere. You can follow me on social media at Sundown Motel, but also check us out at Dim Carnival on social media, Instagram and Twitter. Check out the Dim Carnival YouTube page. Please subscribe. Click that bell notification. Blah blah blah. And send us emails, dimcarnival@gmail.com. Tell us about your spooky Halloween memories and fun costumes and favorite Halloween specials and whatnot. We love to hear from you. We love to see you give us reviews on iTunes. If you leave us a review on iTunes, maybe we'll read it on the show. But thanks to everybody for listening, as always. And until next time, I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And you probably shouldn't put the silver shamrock mask on because it's going to turn your head and face into goop. Just a pro tip.
Unless you want to become a bunch of cockroaches. And at this point, I don't know. Yeah. I'm kind of weighing my options.
Sure. I mean, a cockroach ain't bad. And also, like, maybe that's your fetish. In which case, you're just busy watching Creepshow and not listening to this podcast. Imagine someone watching the cockroach part of Creepshow and just, like,
cranking it out.
Yeah, just cranking it so hard. Cockroaches!
It's like you can't bring up cockroaches around them because they're gonna instantly gotta go beat off. Like,
yeah,
it's just like,
oh man,
I'm at 11.
Did you see that cockroach in the bathroom?